So I've really got two things to do with the cloth here. The first is just to let you know that you've got options. I've connected my cloth to the base color and it looks fine, but if you're feeling like you want to experiment with things, this is a great time for you to remove that connection and just see what happens if you come into your AI Standard Surface node, go over to your subsurface, and turn the weight up. Now I can take my cloth color ramp and connect its out color to the subsurface color and just see if that gives you a different result and see if to your eye it looks more cloth-like or less cloth-like. This is also a fine time for you to experiment with adding just a little bit of a sheen. Maybe I'll give mine a bright red sheen, and I'll turn the roughness on it way down. And maybe that's going to give me a look almost like an iridescent silk kind of a thing. I'm also free to duplicate the cloth ramp that I've got here and put that into the sheen. You know, I don't think I like my sheen. I think I'm going to turn mine off, which I can do just by setting the weight down to 0. So that's thing number one. I want you to be able to experiment with plugging your ramp into different areas. I'd recommend the subsurface, but maybe you want to try transmission and see what happens if you transmit through the cloth. That might be interesting. The other thing I want you to be able to do is to take the cloth that you've got here and use it to generate the other cloth shader. So if I select my Cloth AI Standard Surface node, in the Edit menu of the Hypershade, I have the ability to duplicate as a shading network. This will duplicate not just the cloth node, but also the ramp and that noise that I was using, and they'll come in with all of their connections in place. So when I do this, you'll see that I got kind of a mushed up graph here in my graph area. There's a button at the top of the Hypershade. It's this one with the 3 little dots and the arrow and the 3 little organized dots. That should organize my nodes. Sometimes it works better than others. I may have to just drag this around until I get all of the connections in the right place, and that's fine. That's a thing that happens. So here's cloth 1. This new node, you'll see that every time I put in an O1, I got an O2. That's perfect. I can select cloth O2, right-click, and assign material to viewport selection. When I look at my render, you'll see that now both cloths look exactly the same. I can take cloth color ramp 02, and let me just change it up so instead of blue, let's pause this render. So instead of blue, I've got orange, and then we'll just go dark orange, dark orange. So this will all be basically the inverse of the other ramp. We'll make that one blue, then this one orange. Maybe I don't want this one to be a circular ramp, maybe I want this one to be a box ramp, and maybe I don't want any noise at all. Maybe only just a subtle wave. And now when I render, I will have 2 completely different cloth patterns made from essentially the same shader. So that's a really nice, easy way to take your shaders and reuse them for multiple objects and keep your life easy, because what we all want is to lead nice, easy lives. So this is a great time for you to do 2 things. One is to experiment with whether you want to use base color, subsurface color, transmission color, whatever you choose. The other thing for you to do is try using Edit, Duplicate, Shading Network to duplicate your cloth AI standard surface and make a completely new pattern out of it. Hopefully, that'll be a fun thing for you to do. I think making cloth is fun. Hopefully you will too.